Friday, which means Yahoo specific strategy show. I'm joined by Jake and the boss man, Alex Baker. Going to break down this 14-game MLB slate. We've already had a change since our original strategy show this morning that I did with Adam. No more Dylan Bundy. Welcome to the slate, Mr. John Means, who is not available on Yahoo today. So it's not going to be all that relevant for us, but either way, welcome to the slate, John Means. Jake, Alex, what's going on?
Not much, man. It's another Friday, another Yahoo show. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm excited. And, of course, excited for football season.
Alex, how's your Friday looking?
It's good, man. I've been grinding the Yahoo best balls. I set up my auto draft rankings last night. And I got a $50 one going on right now. So I'm grinding football and baseball today.
Multitasking. That's how you get to the top. Can't take no time off. I'll do a baseball show while I do a football draft. You cannot do that. Let's get the plug out of the way. We are sponsored by Yahoo Sports. For every strategy show, deeper dive, and early bird podcast, I have just dropped the link into YouTube chat for Emax Yahoo specific strategy article. He puts that out every Friday, gives you some hitters, some stacks, some pitchers to take a look at. But most importantly, it's got some information at the top for you to sign up at Yahoo. Follow those instructions, use the promo code AWESOMO, and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Yahoo is offering just an absolutely incredible week one NFL season contest, and I'm pulling it up now on the screen so everyone can see it. $1 million baller, no management fee whatsoever, $25 entry, but it's 10 max, so you don't have to worry about putting in 150 of those at $25, which becomes a little costly. We can't beat this. Every cent that comes in is going right back out. It's probably my favorite contest of everything that's going to be offered for week one of the NFL. 100K to first. The payout structure is fantastic. If you were to put all 10 entries in there, that would be $250 coming out of your pocket. If you finish in the top 200, you've paid off every single one of those entries already. You don't have to worry about finishing fourth and still barely getting any money back. You get into the top 200 of this one, you're feeling pretty good. I know I will be playing it. I will have all 10 lineups in it. I assume Jake will be following suit. Alex, I assume I'll see you with 10 entries behind my best 10, and we'll be good to go.
What the heck, man? You're going to lock me out like that? I want to win some money, too.
I'll let you have some other money, but I think you have enough right now.
Well, I would have a lot more if every tournament was no management fee, man. That's like 12% extra ROI.
It's incredible.
Multiply that by $1,000 a day or more. That adds up to probably, so that would be like $120 a day. If you play $1,000 a day times 365, that's like a full-time salary right there.
That's unbelievable.
I can't even imagine how much you've put in like that. It's got to be a really sad, cost of doing business and all that, but that's got to be a staggering number when you put it on paper.
Yeah. I mean, I like supporting these fantasy sport operators. So, I mean, Yahoo, they're only offering this so that, they can hopefully turn a profit. So I'm happy to help them do that.
Same. Check that contest out and check out the rest of their contests. They run no management fee contests for MLB. They've got soccer. They'll have NBA coming up soon. Golf during the swing season. Hockey coming up. Jake, I'm sure you're pumped for that.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Yeah.
Perfect. But this show is baseball, and we have a 14-game slate ahead of us, and we need to dig in. We start normally with pitching. I see no reason to do anything different today. And this is a massive pitching slate, and a lot of these dudes look super similar. So we'll start it off talking a little bit about ownership. And normally it's a little bit more concentrated. The four most expensive pitchers on Yahoo, all in double digits in exposure, basically 20% or higher. Trevor Bauer is in the 30s. Anibal Sanchez double digits. Wheeler double digits. Lamet double digits. Kyle Gibson double digits. We are casting a pretty wide net of exposure here today. We'll start with you, Alex. Who is the best pitcher on this slate today?
I think I'm ending up with Kyle Gibson as number one. It will depend a little bit on what lineup Detroit rolls out, but temperatures are going down in the Midwest, so I think I'm actually in the Detroit area now. It's been pretty cool, like every night, and that's if you add that together with a lineup that is just full of replacement players. He's only $33, so that's going to make an average pitcher look like an absolute star.
Jake, how do you feel about your boy Gibson pitching for the Minnesota Jakes tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's my boy, but I guess tonight he might be. He's right now right up there as one of my highest exposed pitchers when I'm running crunches for Yahoo. He's just, I think he's a little more expensive than a $33 pitcher. And then, like Alex said, he throw in the matchup against Detroit. I mean, I might take Adam or maybe even you, Josh, or you, Alex, against Detroit if you're at the right price. Yeah, I mean, this team just couldn't be a better matchup. And I'm a little puzzled by the ownership right now, unless I'm seeing something wrong. Under 20% ownership for Gibson. I know it's a big slate, and there's some other guys that are underpriced as well, but just that matchup alone, I thought he would be 25, 30.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Gibson is the top guy for me as well. The price tag is just not correct for his matchup and his talent level. $33 is a bit of a bargain. He's the guy that I'm looking to get to more often than anybody else. And then we've got guys like Aaron Nola at the top, $52, excuse me. Same price as Shane Bieber. Both guys getting roughly 20% ownership. Surprising to me. I think that Shane Bieber is pretty clearly ahead of Aaron Nola. If you had to take one or the other, Jake, who are you taking?
Bieber or Nola? Ooh, is that the 2v2?
Yep, they are both $52 today.
All right. Right now, I think I would go Nola, but it's really close. Alex, your projections on Nola actually aren't very favorable. I thought they'd be a little bit higher. I guess Bieber maybe goes a little bit deeper or something. I'm not exactly sure why there is a big discrepancy in the amount I'm getting of the two guys. So it looks like you have Bieber as the better play, and I don't want to, go against your numbers, but I don't know. Just looking at it last night, I thought that I would have a lot more Nola.
Alex, thoughts on Bieber or Nola?
Yeah, I'm trying to furiously pull up the right game here. Bieber, I think. I mean, the matchup versus Tampa Bay isn't that good. They're a pretty good offense. The strikeouts should be there though. They're about average. This is really a talent play. I mean, Bieber 31% Ks over the year, 3.2 xFIP. The park is inside, which is nice. So I see some good potential there. I'm having trouble finding Nola on my spreadsheet, to be honest.
Nola versus the Mets. You've got the Mets.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here is that the Mets lineup today is just not all that favorable for strikeouts. I mean, it'll depend, because obviously they haven't confirmed their lineup yet. But one factor is that Wheeler doesn't strike out a ton at the plate. They most likely will have Joe Panic in the lineup. He's a really tough K.
Yeah.
And they just don't have a lot of above average strikeout guys on the team these days. So I don't really I don't like the matchup for strikeouts, and the Mets have a higher team total than the Rays.
Those are two guys in the 20s. The next two guys behind them, Bumgarner, Max Fried, also in the 20s in ownership. I don't see anything too crazy going on there. We need to talk about the chalk. Trevor Bauer, $39. That, if I had to guess, that's probably Trevor Bauer's lowest price on Yahoo this season. Making that up as I'm going along, but just kind of feels right. So
has to be, yeah.
We'll call it right, and no one's going to fact check me. So, 37% owned, very clearly the most chalky pitcher. It's not that I don't agree, because I think that Trevor Bauer for $39 is a great value. I have no problem getting to him, but I mean, if my choices are Trevor Bauer or Kyle Gibson, I think that I'm getting more out of Gibson at 33 than Bauer at 39. I do like the idea of having them both, however. Jake, what do you think about Trevor Bauer today?
Yeah, I think both is probably the play I'm going to get to more often than not. But Bauer, like we mentioned with Gibson not being a $33 pitcher, Bauer's not a $39 pitcher either. So he's just way underpriced. It's not even that bad of a matchup against St. Louis. I think they're around average K rate versus righties, maybe a little above average ISO. I think they're below average on base percentage. So there's definitely some things to like about the matchup for a guy who we know can get strikeouts under $40. I just am surprised to see him over double the ownership of Gibson right now. So for me, that would shift my focus more to Gibson if he's going to be 22 or 20% less owned. Yeah. But if they start to get closer and closer throughout the day, I think that it makes sense to have more exposure to Bauer.
Alex, is that Bauer ownership justified to you?
I think it is. I mean, if you don't look at the other players on the slate, I think, as you're saying, 39 is an absurd price for Bauer. He should even get a nice bump in his stats moving to the NL. But today the matchup isn't that great versus the Cardinals. It's about average. I see they have a team total of 4.4. The Cardinals are actually favored in the game. So I think that's not making him look like an elite option.
We're on the same page here. We normally are looking at the bottom for some sort of cheap pitcher to pair with a more expensive arm, but we don't have anybody up in that $60 range like we've seen on slates before. $52 for Nolan Bieber is the tops. And with Kyle Gibson being such a massive value at $33, Alex, I'm curious to see, do you see anyone below Kyle Gibson that you would want to get to for some salary savings at pitcher?
I'm gonna look at, honestly, there's such good options above him that I think that it's easy to spend on to like mid-price guys. But let me see who came up in my crunch here. So I suppose you might need a really cheap SP2 to pair with Gibson if you wanted to get a really expensive team. The guys that are jumping at me, I mean, Austin Pruitt at 25. I mean, that's not a guy that I really love, but the matchup's really tough, but he's pretty cheap. Alicia Hernandez is a guy I always like, but the matchup versus Washington's pretty tough today. I think a lot of people, if they're going to spend down, they might go to, let's see, Colby Allard versus Seattle, maybe. He's 31. But, I mean, that's such a massive drop-off from Gibson or Max Fried that I don't really see myself dipping below Gibson today.
Okay. Jake, are there any starters that you want to talk about that we haven't touched on yet?
Not really. I think Adam liked Allard earlier today. Is that right?
He did.
So he's at least interesting at almost no ownership against Seattle. There certainly are some strikeouts. We don't have a big sample on Allard, so that's the concern. One guy I was getting was CC Sabathia, just kind of one of the guys down here that's getting double-digit projections, but nothing overly appealing. I don't even think you need to get I don't think you need to get below Gibson. You can easily make 10 lineups and really good ones at that don't use any pitcher below $33.
I'm on the same page. I think Gibson is the floor, barring a very, very specific roster construction, especially if he's only going to be 17% owned. Now, if he was like 40 or 50, you might be looking at something in his area, but right now, I don't think he's owned enough to try to go dumpster diving too much.
Yep.
That's 100%. Probably it for pitching, which means I think it's time to build a cash lineup. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we might be seeing some Pirates and Rockies in this one. Can't say for sure, but it feels kind of likely.
I think you're right on that, Josh.
That's a new feeling.
Yeah. That's not a tough limb to go out on, I don't think.
No, not so much. So, unless you guys have anything else that we want to take a look at right now, I think it's time to build a cash lineup.
That's it.
Bingo. Alrighty. I've got it up on the screen here. Let's get projections on one side, Yahoo screen on the other. I think that we're going to be in agreement here that we're probably starting with Bauer and Gibson.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm getting Freed in a lot of my cash lineups too. What do you guys think about that?
I don't have an issue with it at all. I see them as pretty comparable for tonight.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, I think if you get to Freed, that's perfectly fine. If you get to the other two, that's also fine. Just going to depend on if you can afford the extra $4 to get from Bauer up to Freed, and you probably can tonight.
Alex, did you get Freed with Gibson?
I'm getting a lot of different combinations in these cash crunches. I guess Freed Gibson, Bieber Gibson, Lamette Gibson.
My top two were Bauer Gibson and Bieber Freed, so we seem to be circling the same sort of group of pitchers. I think that we're probably in agreement that it's Gibson at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, just pick your favorite of the other guys. I think they're all pretty comparable.
Well, let's see where we stand after that. I'm going to slot Kyle Gibson in to start, and then I think we can make our final decision as we get a little bit closer to a full lineup. But it's time to grab some hitting now. I'm going to sort this entire list of players just by your projections from top to bottom. And once again, they are getting better and better. Just no real crazy value slipping through the cracks, except what's going on, Daniel Murphy at $13. Can't imagine you're not in our cash lineup. Anything? Am I saying anything crazy there? Is Daniel Murphy going to be in our cash lineup?
I think he's going to be probably in our cash lineup.
Felt safe. Daniel Murphy at $13. He is the highest projected hitter in Alex's projections to be at less than $20. A couple other guys that seem to be popping up as decent values. Whit Merrifield at 13. Who else are we looking for? Man, it's really not. Pricing has changed dramatically since we have started doing this show. Going to the same things that we were looking at previously are just kind of not there. So, Jake, I'm throwing it to you. Who's the next person in our cash lineup?
All right, so we got Murphy in there. Well, I guess Murphy's not a slam dunk that he's going to be in our cash lineup, I don't think. Like if we could get up to Bell at 20, that might be another guy in Coors. Let's see. I like sticking with the Coors theme. I don't know who. Well, Kevin Newman, I think, looks like a pretty nice option at shortstop. You know, you'd like to get up to Story maybe if you could at 25, but Newman expected to, I think, lead off. Yeah, lead off. Huge total for the Pirates. That's a guy that I like for cash.
I don't disagree at all. I can't imagine having any trouble there. When I ran the cash crunch, Trevor Story, Kevin Newman, the top two shortstops in volume. I mean, you want Story if you can get to him, but I think Newman makes for a decent placeholder.
Yep.
Alex, we basically have a full opening for anybody you want to put into this cash lineup outside of first base and shortstop. Who's standing out?
Pedro Severino. I mean, like, not a great player, but he's $7, and he hasn't been batting too low in the order for catcher. And the matchup versus Eric Skoglund isn't too bad.
I completely agree. Easy grab for value here at catcher. And anytime you can get that sort of value at the catcher spot at the minimum, it makes it really easy to slot that in. Even though he's not in Coors, I think we'll be okay. Alrighty, I'm going to grab one now, and I don't know where I'm going to go. So let's grab an outfielder. And let's see who stands out most. Ian Desmond looking pretty good. I didn't hear what you said.
Chuck Nasty.
Sure.
I mean, he's pretty good. I don't want to steal your pick, but
I mean, I don't, it's not like I disagree all that much. Let's see. I really like. Let's see who came up most in my outfield crunch. Blackman, Desmond, Joyce, Peterson, Cruz. I think I'm gonna have to pitch Ian Desmond unless you guys want to talk me out of it.
what do you think, Alex?
Um,
He came up as my second highest owned outfielder when I just ran optimal lineups. I ran 100. He's not in the top one right now, but like he's in the second and third and fourth. Like he's right up there. It'll probably just depend where he bats compared to Hilliard if he's in the lineup.
yeah, I like it.
Boom. And very easy to upgrade off of Desmond if we need to. The $11 price tag is just kind of perfect. Jake, you're up. Second base, third base, outfield. We still have the second pitcher spot to fill.
Second base, third base, second base. One guy that I got an overwhelming amount was Whit Merrifield.
Yeah.
Merrifield at $13, just too cheap for him. Not a great hitting environment like what we saw the last couple of days in KC, but against Means, I know he's an all-star, so you know you have to deal with that. But I think Merrifield makes for a pretty fantastic play at $13.
Impossible for me to disagree. Third base and two outfielders, Alex.
Let me find an outfielder. Sticking with the course theme, I mean Charlie Blackmon if we have money for him.
We will almost certainly have money for Charlie Blackmon. I got him just as much as I got Ian Desmond. You're paying up $21, but to get a guy in the leadoff spot against Pittsburgh, having a 7+ run implied total, I think it's worth the freight. Pitcher, third base, outfield. I'm going to take the more fun one and take third base because that's more fun for me. On the crunch, tops was Nolan Arenado. Can't imagine how that happened. If I take a look, he is clearly the highest projected third baseman. Value isn't all that bad. He is $27. Renato Nunez, though, for 13.
Yeah.
Might be standing out slightly more.
Right. So I think those are the two. Oh, maybe there's a third guy in there. Merrifield's guy, Merrifield's teammate, Dozier. But like, it's so close between the three.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who do you want to go with, Josh?
I'm going to slot Nunez in here right now, knowing that we're going to have a ton of money left over to be able to boost some individual hitters. Because now we need one pitcher, one outfielder, and we have $74 remaining. So we're going to be able to make some pretty sizable upgrades when we need to, but I'd rather paint the full picture and then make some edits afterwards. Right. So, Alex, who is the final outfielder to make our cash lineup?
Let me see here. I got a lot of Jock. He's just super cheap tonight, so it depends how much salary we have left.
Well, if we slot Jock in, we can spend $66 at pitcher to finish off our cash lineup. There is not a $66 pitcher here. We can put in Bieber or Nola and still have $14 left. So would we go Kyle Gibson, Shane Bieber, and redistribute $14 more? Or do we want to drop down and get another $9 and keep Fried or something along those lines? What do you think is the better option here? Is betting on pitching a more sound strategy?
In cash, I think it is a little bit better to spend up on pitcher if I had to choose between spending on bats and pitchers. I mean, all projections being equal.
Okay. Well, let's do it. Shane Bieber is in. The cash lineup is done, but we have $14 left over to upgrade. Here's what we have right now. $7 Pedro Severino, $13 Daniel Murphy, $13 Whit Merrifield, $13 Renato Nunez, $15 Kevin Newman, $11 Ian Desmond, $21 Charlie Blackmon, and $8 Jock Peterson.
Wow.
Oh boy. We can upgrade straight from Renato Nunez to Nolan Arenado and spend every single cent we have.
Oh man. We could wait. Did you say Renato to who? To Arenado?
Yes. That would spend everything. We would spend all $200.
That's not bad at all. I mean, I don't mind that. I think that it's going to be a really good cash lineup regardless. I think the one we have already is good, but of course we could upgrade a few spots because we have salary left over. Man, it just maybe we play around with the pitching too. Like if we don't want to put in Bieber, we could go down to Fried. We could go down to one guy we didn't talk about was Lamet. Did you have any interest in him at all, Alex? At $37 in San Francisco?
For sure, yeah. I mean, San Francisco is a good matchup, good park. He's a good strikeout pitcher. So I think that I'll have him in all formats tonight for sure.
Yeah. So that was just one guy I wanted to make sure we touched on quick because maybe you guys mentioned him, but we didn't really talk about him very much. So that was the guy that I was getting a ton of. It just depends on what we want to do with the second pitcher spot, I think. If we go Bieber, if we go Bauer, Lamet, Fried, Bumgarner. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can very obviously switch from Nunez to Nolan Arenado and drop from Bieber to a second starter and still have like another $10 to $15 to redistribute through this lineup. There is not a shortage of options today in cash on Yahoo.
Yeah, like right now, a lot of my cash lineups have 5 Rockies.
Yeah.
So if we could upgrade the lineup we had from Nunez up to Arenado and then get Newman up to Story and just play all the Colorado good bats, essentially. That's also viable. Yeah, it's going to look good what you build in cash day on Yahoo.
I think I would rather have Newman than Story. Newman at $15 in cores is just stupid cheap.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
I swapped out Renato Nunez for Arenado. So right now we have everything spent. The question now is, do we drop off of Bieber to upgrade anywhere else? I don't really see any natural upgrades. I mean, you can get off of Pedro Severino if you wanted to get to, one of the legitimate catchers on the slate, somebody like Gary Sanchez. But I don't really see the need. It's not as if Pedro Severino is just a guy. I think he's a fantastic dollar for dollar play. Alex, would you just sit on this lineup and not make any changes?
How much should we have spent? We
have spent it all. But we do have Shane Bieber, and we can get off of that to create salary if we need to. There's certainly not a shortage of pitching options.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with this lineup. I mean, we got most of the guys we wanted, so what's not to love?
4-man Colorado stack in course. Don't mind that one bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people misunderstand the stacking cash games because everyone's gonna have a piece of Colorado tonight. So it's not it's like when you're playing someone, if they have 3 Rockies and you have 4, that means there's only one relevant player. Right. So it's not like you're stacked at all.
Exactly. I think that's a hell of a cash lineup. So 1-0 Colorado over Pittsburgh tonight. You heard it here first.
Yeah, they kind of laid an egg last night, so they certainly could again. And that was last night was against Trevor Williams with a similar implied total. So no lock in MLB per usual.
No, not at all. It was starting to look like, it was 7-0 in the blink of an eye in that game. Got a little tamer after that. I think it's time to build out a GPP lineup. Going to be kind of interesting to talk about considering this Coors game. Let me sort this back out. I've cleared the lineup on the screen. Most owned on Yahoo right now. Surprise, surprise, the Colorado Rockies. Second most owned team, surprise, surprise, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Are we starting with one of these lineups and trying to get a little bit different at pitching inside of it? Do we want to try to build a 6-man Rockies lineup and see what it looks like? Alex, where do you stand on building out our GPP lineup for today?
Yeah, I think that we'll probably have one Rockies lineup, but that's like the chalk.
Wow, I ran a 200 lineup crunch and got 115 of 200 in Colorado.
Yeah, that is definitely a concerning statistic. And I think like everyone who's playing will have a Rockies stack tonight.
Yeah.
So maybe that wouldn't be like my top stack on the slate.
Do we want to take a look at Pittsburgh? They're getting a little bit less ownership. Is that the way to get different? Go back to Pittsburgh after their excellent offensive performance yesterday? Or are other teams standing out for you, Alex? Anybody that you see that you think is being underrepresented?
I think maybe let's see here. Atlanta, I have as a good play.
Okay.
Versus Ivan Nova. They might go a little bit more under the radar compared to a team like Kansas City, which is super, super cheap. So Kansas City would be like one I'm avoiding because it's so easy to get the stack with guys like Whit Merrifield who are like really underpriced.
Okay. Well, considering I am wearing a Braves hoodie right now, it feels like that's a sign that we should be building a Braves stack here. So let's go ahead and tackle Atlanta. I assume we're going to want to start with the 2-man represented on said hoodie. Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies also hitting first and second, but not exactly cheap. The real star of this show for the Braves, probably $7 Matt Joyce.
Yeah, I mean, assuming he's going to bat somewhere in the middle of the order. I mean, even if he doesn't bat in the middle of the order, like even if he bats 7th, 8th, probably still going to be a guy you should have, or at least consider having if you're stacking up the Braves. Do you want to do a 6-man stack, Josh?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them.
So do I. I got 17 out of 200 when I ran it.
Yeah, I capped everyone at 8% just because I knew I was going to get a million Colorado stacks. So trying to get different looking lineups here. And Atlanta actually did hit the cap as well. So, yeah, I think Acuna, Albies, Joyce is a good place to start. Might want a guy named Freddie Freeman as well.
Never heard of him.
All
right.
Yeah, he's pretty good at baseball.
Allegedly. All right, I've got Albies in. I've got Acuna in. If Matt Joyce had more ownership, it'd be a different story for a GPP lineup, but he's at 14. We're not going to have a non-unique lineup here. I feel like it'd be really difficult to build a Brave stack without Freddie Freeman. So that's 4. Who are we filling it out with? Freeman, Albies, Joyce, Acuna. Who are the final 2 guys, Alex?
It's always nice to stack up the catcher, and Cervelli is a above average player for the catcher position. Although his season this year has been pretty terrible. Hopefully he can turn it around with the new team. And
Here's hoping that Francisco Cervelli does not get another concussion, because he's starting to be like Billy Bob was in Not Another Teen Movie. Not good. It's not good. 1 to go. We need a third baseman, a shortstop, or an outfielder to finish off this 6-game stack. So we're either looking at Josh Donaldson, Dansby Swanson, Rafael Ortega.
Let's try to get in Donaldson. Let's see. Do we have any of our pitchers in yet?
We have 0 in, but I'll put in Donaldson right now. We put in Donaldson. We have a 6-man Brave stack. Let's just say that we're going to use a $7 shortstop and outfielder. We have $101 total right now. So we'd be lopping off 14 there. We have, by all I can tell, plenty of money to spend at pitching and not have $7 guys. So who are we going with at pitching? I see no reason that we're getting away from Kyle Gibson here. We already have a stack that isn't exactly owned.
Yep, I agree. Gibson, a mortal lock, I think, for this lineup. If we're not worried about any ownership.
Yeah. And then I think we can really do whatever we want here at the second spot. Even if we were to use Bieber or Nola, we would still have $8 a piece at short and outfield. So we're going to have enough money to truly play with 2 additional spots. Alex, who stands out most to you as a Kyle Gibson pairing in our 6-man Atlanta stack? Max Fried? Oh, we can't do that, can we?
No, we can't do it. Yeah.
One strategy that's growing on me is taking 5 plus the pitcher, because like you can't take 6 plus the pitcher. It means you won't be dominated. And I mean, Fried is one of my favorite plays on the slate, so I think that could be a way to differentiate from other Brave stacks.
All right, let's do it. I'll put Fried in. Who comes out?
Oh, I think we take Cervelli out, right? Save and then go down to Severino.
I knew you didn't like that pick, Jake.
What did I miss there?
Oh, I mean, that was my pick, and you're like as soon as you get
the 5
taking him out.
best hitters.
We're not going to need to go down to Severino, by the way. So by slotting in Max Fried and going to a 5-man stack, we need a catcher, a shortstop, and an outfielder, and we have $34 remaining. So Severino isn't even necessarily going to be needed.
I mean, 34 gets us Severino and Mike Trout, right?
Oh, we still need a shortstop.
Oh, shoot. My bad.
I'm trying to...
This is going to be a really random question, and I'm not thinking it through very much, so if it's stupid, we'll just cut this. If you could leave roster spots blank, do you think you would do that? Ever?
I mean, maybe once in a while I could see an argument, but there is a considerable value in each like lineup spot beyond just like salary cap. So I think it would be a big disadvantage to not put in someone there.
Okay.
It's like when you see the showdown slates, it's like some sites will have like a player that's like $100 or whatever,
right.
And like they have a ton of people like go for 5 players plus that one guy. But I rarely see those lineups actually taking anything down.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be great in baseball because of the way that fixed opportunities exist. Even the lowest salary player is going to get up there. I was just trying to think about it more. Like when the way you said about getting Severino and Trout, like, I wonder if there is a 2-man combo better than a bunch of 3-man combos, which I would guess that there are, but baseball kind of makes it impossible.
Yeah,
you would never want to take a 0.
If they let you like have empty roster spots, like bad players would do it far more than good players, and they just lose their money faster.
For sure. I would love to look into it, even though I'm sure it's a very negative play.
Yeah.
All right, so shortstop, catcher, outfielder. What can we do? I mean, honestly, Kevin Newman seems like the guy that we want at shortstop from a value perspective. Although Elvis Andrus standing out a little bit to me, I think probably a little bit more than he's standing out to you right now, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, so it's I'm fine with putting him in there. He's a great value.
Or we can also we can keep that Kevin Newman shortstop option at 15, add in Severino at 7. That allows us $12 at outfielder. Still gives us a piece of cores, gives us the value catcher that works out best. Nobody's going to have this lineup, so.
Nice.
Jake, give me an outfielder for $12.
For 12? I mean, the first one that comes to mind, we'd be leaving salary on the table, but Jock, he was a guy who was getting an overwhelming amount of lineups. Scrolling through my Atlanta stacks here, a lot of them have Ortega, so we're not going to need him. But
Ian Desmond is the highest projected guy in Alex's projections, under $12.
Yeah.
Desmond and Chu.
That's not a bad option. I mean, we're fine using Colorado fillers here because we don't have a chalky lineup elsewhere. Like, as long as we don't have the Colorado stack, we're going to be different regardless. So who cares about putting in Desmond? I guess the only issue with that is that he's not one of Colorado's best hitters, and he's going to be an optimizer play that gets put in a lot. So do we have any concern with that if he's going to bat 6th or 7th?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a one-off. Like, it's kind of like any guy that's going to fit in easily into your lineup's going to be pretty high owned.
Mhm.
So I guess you're right that a lot of people with like an Atlanta stack may also like gravitate towards those players. So they might be overlapping more, but I find that when a guy's underpriced, even if they're a batter, like it makes it easy to make lineups with them as one-offs.
Cool.
Gibson and Fried, Severino, Newman, Desmond one-offs, 5-man Brave stack, Freeman, Albies, Donaldson, Joyce, Acuna with $1 to spare. We're making money with these Atlanta Braves. Shout out to whoever it was that was one of our subs that sent me this hoodie. Much obliged for this. It's a great hoodie.
You take subs now?
What? This was last baseball season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, why you don't even follow baseball? I can't imagine why you would buy that. But
I mean, I would buy this hoodie. It's pretty sweet.
It is a pretty sweet hoodie. I mean, I can see it on both sides of your mic right now. But
it's Acuna and Albies are like high-fiving each other.
That's pretty sweet.
I think Josh is hinting at the fact that he wants some kickbacks here.
This dude was just like, hey, I do social media for whatever it was, the company that made these. Do you want anything? And I was like, I certainly do.
Yeah, even if you don't want to get Josh a sweatshirt here, you might as well at least get him a like. So hit that button.
I love it. I love it. We don't need clothing. We need thumbs ups on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel so you can always know what's going on over here at awesemo.com, and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. We will have the deeper dive coming up at 4:45 with Laffy and Adam, and then at 6 p.m. Eastern, like you've seen all week, myself and Jake Hari closing it out live before lock, 6 to 7. Same stream as the deeper dive stream. We will be there taking you up to 7:05. Thank God it's 7:05 and not 7:10 again today.
Yeah, we went on early yesterday too. It was like an hour and a half show.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
It was stuff. Hey, we won't have a shortage of time today, that's for sure. It'll be 6:45 before we notice.
Right. And then we'll be scrambling to get our crunches in.
Yes, that is exactly what's going to happen. I'm very used to it. All right, I think we have time to build another GPP lineup. Jake, who would you like to tackle now that we've already built the Braves?
All right, so we got the Braves in there. The team I was getting to a little bit when I juiced up the hitter projections. So I think they might be a tough team to get to is the Washington Nationals. I like them. I mean, you like the implied total. It's Elisa Hernandez. He's not a bad pitcher, but really favorable hitting conditions here, near 90 degrees. A little bit of wind possibly blowing out against a team with a not good bullpen and a team with a bunch of power in the Nats.
Yeah, I think they are very difficult to get to in a natural crunch. I did not get them once, so that makes for a really interesting team to try to build on right now.
Yeah, let's try it.
Let's do it.
I've got some weird ones in here.
I'm running a crunch right now. Pulling it up on the screen now just to see what we can get. All right, 100 Nats 6-mans in the books.
This is going to be one where it's not pretty, but like I've got Nats stacks with Pruitt and CC Sabathia. So,
oh man!
So this is one where it's hard to get to. You're seeing why it's hard to get to because you're going to have to use Gibson probably as your SP1.
I've got Bauer Gibson in my top 2.
Oh, do you?
With Ian Desmond and Matt Joyce in the optimal.
Ian Desmond and Matt Joyce. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I've got one that's similar to that. It's Fried Sabathia, but you could drop Fried down to Gibson and then do something with that. You go to Lamet or something like that instead of CC. So it's difficult, but I like the difficulty of this stack.
Yeah, let's walk through it. So let's get the 6 Nats bats right out of the gate. I think we're in agreement that Turner, Rendon, and Soto are happening for sure.
Yep. I think you got it, right?
I mean, I would want to. They're not cheap, but we'll get there. Is that Luis Soto that we're putting in here?
No, that's Emax guy. This is going to be Juan Soto.
Oh, okay. Close enough. Alex, who stands out to you from the rest of the Nats lineup? We've already got Turner, Rendon, and Soto.
Asdrubal Cabrera, he's been having decent power this season, and he's 14, which is nice savings from the other parts of the lineup.
Bingo. Asdrubal Cabrera, Trey Turner, Anthony Rendon, Juan Soto. I only have 2 lineups crunched with those 4 guys.
It's tough.
Cabrera, Rendon, Turner, Soto. Let's run 100 more with just those.
Did you run 6 mans, Josh?
I did.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding too. It's like, because they don't have a cheap catcher, it's not like they have a Ryan O'Hearn or someone that's super cheap at first base where you're just getting like pure punt value. Like no one in this lineup, in the projected one that I'm seeing, is under $15.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of, like, we're probably going to end up with Jock or Desmond as one of our outfield spots, at least one of our outfield spots.
I locked Cabrera, Rendon, Turner, and Soto, the 4 guys that we have so far, and reran another 100. The most exposed Nats to fill out, 77% Matt Adams, 69% Kurt Suzuki, 38% Victor Robles. So some sort of combination of those 3 seem to be the likely scenario, with Adams and Suzuki leading the charge. Who were you seeing, Jake?
Yeah, those guys I'm getting a lot. Like I'm actually getting a lot of Adams. That's not a bad price, of $15 against a righty. No. He bats higher in the order than Suzuki and Robles. So I think probably Adams would be our next guy.
Done. He is in. Alex, close out this Nat stack. Who is our 6th and final Nat?
So I think if we're gonna leave anyone off, maybe Eden's 22 and doesn't have great power or stolen base upside, so that would leave us with Suzuki and Robles. Of the 2, Suzuki has the better position, I guess, so I might pick him.
Alrighty, Kurt Suzuki, come on down. Which means we now have a 6-man Nat stack. The optimal that I got was Kyle Gibson, Nady, Eovaldi. Not exactly making me feel great. We then get to Gibson Skoglund, Gibson Allard, Gibson CC. I'm letting you guys handle this. I don't want to sift through this garbage. Alex, who are our 2 pitchers in a 6-man Nat stack?
Gibson and CC. I don't know.
I don't hate it. I have 3 of those in front of me right now. Honestly, the filler is not so shabby. Alex Gordon, Ian Desmond, Tim Lopes, Jock Peterson, Delino DeShields, Hunter Renfroe. Those are the 3 dueling pairings of Kyle Gibson and CC Sabathia.
Not bad.
And we can clearly swap around on some of those guys. I like the idea of Jock and Tim Lopes. Lopez? I still don't know which one it is.
It's got to be Lopes.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah.
We can figure this out. We do have the internet at our disposal.
I'm not familiar with this internet thing that you speak of. Yeah, Jock and Tim Lopes. If Lopes is leading off, to get 2 leadoff hitters today, one being Jock Peterson, who is just simply talented and underpriced at $8, and one being Tim Lopes, who is not really talented but is leading off in Texas. That's a decent combination.
Yeah, I think it looks great. So I've got no arguments. You're going to have to punt the last 2 spots of the Nats, but that's what makes them appealing.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's pure punts in Coors. There's not there's no $7 player or $8 player.
No.
The lowest we got is $9 for awful Tony Wolters. So I like it. Get some Jock, get some Tim Lopez, whatever it is, and you can fill that out.
Actually, the Jock Tim Lopes lineup has $4 left over. We can turn that into Jock Ian Desmond.
It's not bad.
We still have $1 left over.
Or we
what
could
we do with that.
We have CC in that lineup, right?
Yeah, CC on that beat.
Yeah, there's no like $31 pitcher.
No.
Like we can't even get up to 33 at Dakota Hudson or something like that, or Matt. So
we can drop down to Matt Joyce, which frees up $5, which allows us to get up to nothing interesting.
Right. Can we just clone Kyle Gibson? Find another dollar and clone Gibson. Just play him both of our SP spots. I
would love to. That would be another fun wrinkle to DFS, being able to play the same people more than once in a lineup.
That would be pretty sweet.
Take really aggressive stance, have the same hitter 8 times with, a 2-pitcher combo.
This is actually something you can do on Yahoo. In the case of a doubleheader, like a lot of times they'll have both games, and you can pick your favorite player if they're outfielder twice.
Yeah.
Wait, you only for outfielders?
Well, because you can pick 2 outfielders, you can't pick 2 of any other position.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That makes perfect sense.
So for
not that the other not that, say, Trey Turner doesn't exist as 2 separate shortstops. You just have to take one of them. Whereas you can have Juan Soto in the early and Juan Soto in the late game. Do they always have? Do they have the same salaries?
No, they don't. Not always. At least I've seen where they haven't had them. So it is. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I would approach that. Like, each game is individual. It doesn't actually matter if they played the first game or whatever, but it's an interesting wrinkle. So I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't even know it. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
1:56 p.m. I think that we can probably slowly wrap this up. Let's just get some holistic thoughts on this slate. We just have this sea of pitching and nobody outside of Trevor Bauer breaking free from the pack. Alex, what do you think? I don't even really know how to pose this. With Coors existing the way that it does today, and it being the clear game that everyone has their eye on, if you're playing 10 lineups on Yahoo, do you think that you're playing a Colorado stack?
It's definitely not one of my favorite stacks because the ownership is projected to be so high. Let me pull up the number here. It's making up 18% of the ownership with the Rockies and 11% with Pittsburgh. So that means 29% of all players rostered today on Yahoo will be from one of those 2 teams. And I think there's some other teams like Washington, also Minnesota, that are almost as good, but getting a sliver of the ownership. So I think I would focus on those teams as a priority, and maybe fade Coors just because the ownership will be so high.
One of those things that Adam and I tried to touch on earlier today, and it's basically just that playing the Rockies and the Pirates are probably going to make you more likely to min cash and not get destroyed, but playing a different team is going to make you more likely to actually win a tournament and be unique.
Yeah.
Right.
Jake, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just piggybacking off that, I think it just depends what you're trying to do as far as playing Colorado tonight. So like on Yahoo, you got flatter payouts. So maybe you don't need on some other sites, you need like a top 5 finish out of 20,000 entries. On Yahoo, you don't necessarily need that to turn a profit. So it makes sense I think you still can play some Colorado stacks and don't feel bad about it, or play a bunch of Colorado fillers. If you're doing 5-man stacks, have some 2-man Colorado fillers or something like that. Pittsburgh, same thing. Because you have to take into account the structure of the tournament as well and how many entries there actually are.
Alex, final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
Just thanks everyone for watching the show. And I always appreciate those thumbs up, so hit us with them. Yeah.
You heard the boss. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up on your way out the door. Deeper dive at 4:45, live before lock at 6 p.m. You guys know the drill. Please come join us. Thank you very much to Yahoo for sponsoring this show, for sponsoring the strategy show in the morning, the deeper dive every day, early bird podcast. We greatly appreciate it. Check them out. Check out Emax Yahoo strategy article, which I'm dropping one last time into chat. If you're interested in signing up at Yahoo and looking to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points, follow the instructions at the top of the article and use the promo code ASIMO. We will be back, as usual, next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, so come check us out. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We're out of here.